Well, so what I would do, I don't know if I want to make a trade, but this is what I would do.
Yeah, but just for practice.
I would start out with this to understand what's happening with the value. So what happened so far today? We pushed down, we had a balance area right here. So this is yesterday, the night before yesterday, and last night. Kind of all stuck in this range, right? So what we expect when we move out of a range of balance, we expect a potential for a trend and a movement, right?
Yeah.
So that did happen, but then boom, the buyer stepped back in and really pushed us back into balance. So to be honest, the downside looks at risk because we got those buyers to step in. Now, like one of the things on the profile that I can see that I will monitor is this double low right here, because this is 30-minute bars. Yeah. So there's this. It's kind of small here. Here.
Okay.
So this is one thing that I don't like. That to me doesn't suggest strong buyers. However, we've been in a trending up market, so you gotta take that with a grain of salt because they've just been totally in control. At the same time, we got this high right here, and you can see how it's only one tick from the previous high that was made at the start of the day. So that doesn't look strong to me either. So we might want to just try long because one of the theories is when we fail out of a balance, you come back into the balance. The target is the other side of the balance. Yeah. So let's try along here. It's actually pushing up as we speak. So
all right. So as you learn more, you can you need to base your trade on sort of the data and what you can see in the chart. So that's what Chris is doing here. So let's put one in. Do you have any currently going?
I actually just put one on.
Okay.
I just bought the market, so I went directly to the offer, the nearest offer, and said, give me 3 contracts.
All right, so you got kind of 3 contracts. And what would be sort of the value of each of those contracts?
Yep, so it depends what future contract. Look, we're getting some nice lifting.
Okay.
Right here, you can see we have a lot of green right here. The heavy green is symbolizing that we have imbalances. It means that there's just at these prices, many more people who are trying to buy than sell, which is a good thing for our long right now.
All right, so you put in this you put in the buy, right? And you can see this is where you bought it, right?
That's our entry price.
Yeah. Okay, that's the entry price, and then what's this first red line? Is that where you're gonna sell 1 share?
Yeah. So there's equal to how you see the market. There's many ways how to manage your trade once you put it on. What I have learned to do is one of the ways to manage your trade is to use something called scaling out. So we put our full position on in a single price, right?
Yeah.
However, with exiting our position, scaling out is where you slowly take off and close your order. You don't close it all at once. You do it at different price levels. And one of the benefits of doing that is that the market is unpredictable, right? So we don't know exactly how far the market's going to go. By doing this, as we start to, let's say we don't go all the way to our far target, but if we can get here, we can sell 1 contract and lock in a little bit of profit, right?
Yeah.
And so that's going to protect us. So let's say it gets that far, and then the trade doesn't work out anymore. We're still going to make a small profit, right? And so that's important to protect our risk. And you can really get to a point where the trade is essentially free because you sold that first contract and you're not going to let the position go against you anymore. So now like the worst I can do at this point is to break even. And by being in that situation, it frees up your psychology to just let the trade work. Don't be all crazy about it, trying to control it, and just be like, hey, let's let it alone and let it do its work, Like right now, we're still seeing a lot of strength here, and this is really, good for our long. I really think that we're going to hit the target hopefully pretty soon.
Okay, so yeah, so you can see it's just going up there, and then you have a safety net at the bottom too, so it will sell if it goes the other direction too much, so you don't lose too much money and not have too much exposure, right?
Exactly. So the safety net you're talking about is what we call a stop.
Yeah.
And this is something that it's definitely necessary to have as a prevention for when things don't work out, right? One of the ways that traders can really hurt themselves is not defining their point where they're wrong.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do that, you can let the trade go against you, and continue to tell yourself, well, it might go in my direction. I'll just give it a little bit more room, right? And that's a way to allow your risk to grow exponentially. And if you look at the odds, you're just shooting yourself in the foot. You'll never become profitable that way.
Right. Dang.
We want our risk to be always shorter or smaller, really, than the potential reward, right? If we don't have that, then it's going to be a very hard mountain to climb. So right now, what's going on is we're balancing right at the top, which is a good sign. So we have that imbalance. The market hasn't even been able to go back and test that imbalance, which is what we want to see. The markets again go from balance to trend to imbalance. Balance to imbalance, which leads to a trend back to balance. So we're balancing at the top of this kind of impulse we got. And we expect this to increase. Oh, sorry guys.
Oops.
Doing some work at the same time.
Yeah, always working. All right, so we're getting close to that first point now. Let's talk about the numbers. Yeah, we're almost up to the first point. So, what kind of how much money do we have invested here in this trade? That's an important thing for investors to know.
Mm-hmm. So we're trading the ES, which is the E-mini contract, and this is again a future contract where each point in that contract is worth $50, and you have to talk with your brokerage when you sign up to understand what the requirements are for how much money you need to have in your account for each contract that you buy or sell.
Okay.
So that's something that you definitely need to do some research and talk with your broker.
But is there any kind of number you could give us? In this example, we bought 3 contracts, and so what's kind of how much because an investment is how much money you make over time. So how much money do you have to invest?
So
can you do a smaller one, or what's the minimum kind of you could do?
Mm-hmm. So in general, the lowest margin, margin is the word that brokers use for the amount of capital you have to be
and
able
we've just hit that sell there.
Awesome. Look at that. This is just
it. And how many points did you just hit right there?
So that was 5.
5 points.
5 points. So that we just took in $250.
Okay.
To again protect our risk in case this trade doesn't work out. But right now, this thing is showing. We got lucky. It's showing a lot of strength. We're seeing continued imbalances here. You can see here there's a 0 and a 1. That means that the buyers were so aggressive there, they didn't even give a chance for anybody to even sell a contract at those prices. That's showing aggression.
So it's just ripped by that.
It ripped right through it. Yeah.
It ripped through. Dang.
And so it might come back and might test it, but it's just those are good signs for our long. And so what I would do while I'm in this.
Yeah, let's see the other charts that you would follow while you're in a trade.
So one thing that I have found is that when we're looking, this is again the microscope.
Right.
You can imagine that if you're looking through a microscope for too long, you're gonna forget what else is going on around you in the bigger picture, right?
Yeah.
So you don't want to get too focused on this forever. It's good for kind of timing our entries or our exits. So we might go back here and see what's going on. Again, we as I entered this trade, I said, hey, the target can often be the opposite side of this balance. So we can see that we're pushing through. We're going to be pushing up against yesterday's high, and we're doing pretty well with that theory of going up to here to 4180 is kind of our target. Another.
What's that other chart that shows where you've put in the sort of to sell? It shows you the point where it will sell the other contracts.
I think it's this one you're looking at.
Yeah, okay. So here we've already filled one, and then you've got one up here, right?
This is our stop.
Okay, that's the stop.
These are the ones that we have still on. So usually.
And there's two more.
Yep.
Okay.
Because we bought 3. So I have this programmed into, which again, it's very easy to do that, but I have, when I buy 3, I have my exits staggered at 5, 15, and 20 points. And so we just looked at that bigger term profile chart and kind of saw that 80 could be kind of the other side of the balance. So I just dragged that down and put it at 80. Right now this thing is just absolutely ripping.
Right, so you can just change your point. You can change where you want to sell.
Exactly.
All right, let's talk about the points and clicks, because that was like a little confusing. You were explaining it yesterday, but I didn't get it all. So like, what's sort of a click or a point, you know?
Let's just look at this for a second. Like, this is a 25-point impulse right now. An impulse means like super aggressive move in one direction. Yeah. This is pretty wild right now.
And we put it in right there, or where did we get it?
Right here.
We got in right here.
Right. Okay. So this thing is pretty wild. Like, I don't know if there's been some news that just came out or not. But this is.
But it looks like it's going right up to the next point.
Yeah, and so you can actually see here our profit and loss on the remaining 2.
The current, yeah.
Yeah. So we're currently at 18 points.
18, that's times 50, right?
That's times 50, yep.
So, geez, I mean, if you do the math, we're getting close to near to $1,000 right there. Yeah,
and that's for the remaining. We already captured $250.
Yeah, and that's just in a couple of minutes. So that's what day trading is, and of course, also you're exposed to risk at the same time.
Yep, exactly. We can't only look at the
due to the leverage
reward, but we gotta look at what the cost of businesses, which is being wrong, and that's going to happen, and we have to accept that being part of the game as well.
And is there a trading fee? How much does it cost to buy those 3 positions?
Absolutely, there's costs involved in trading. It's not a free thing. Just like any business, there's normal costs of doing business.
Right.
So there is money that you have to spend on your charting. Mm-hmm. There's money you have to spend to get the data,
right?
Get good quality data that's coming from the exchanges,
right? Like from this program does that automatically for you, though.
It has, yes. It gives you. They have their own data stream coming from the exchange. It's called Denali, and it's super. I found it to be extremely high quality and never having like delays or anything like that, which I have heard of in many others.
Yeah.
Data streams. So those are two costs of doing business. You also have to, you pay commissions when you buy and sell a contract. You're paying some commissions on that. So for example, you might pay, 50 cents or $1 for every time that you buy or sell a future contract.
Okay,
well again, that's something you have to check with your broker.
That's not too bad, and that's reasonable.
Yeah.
But is this software connected to the broker, or is that like you connect that with your broker independently?
How do you connect that? Yeah.
How do you do that?
Yeah. So you'll make the connection with your broker to Sierra Chart, and there's different brokers that Sierra Chart is kind of integrated with.
And they have a list of the brokers you can work with?
Exactly.
Nice.
Yep.
Okay. So let's see where we're at. We're about to hit this next contract here, right? Where's it up to?
Yeah, we're trading at 75.50, 41.75.50 now.
So it's like, how many clicks are we up? Where does it say? The 17 points, right?
Yep.
Does that mean points?
That's points.
So that's basically $50 each point, right?
Exactly.
So we could sell it right now. You could sell out the rest of it.
We could.
And take $1,000 profit nearly.
Yep.
Okay. I see. But we're going, you're already breaking even, right? So, okay, cool. But how much money would you have sort of invested? Is there, is it like a set number, or how, how does that work?
Yeah, that's back to the margin that I talked about. Each broker is going to have different requirements for that, but the lowest I've seen is about $500 for an ES contract. And so to be able to do what we just did in a real account, you would have to have a $1,500 more or less balance in your account before they would allow you to take on that position.
Right, and that's just in case it goes down, and then they would close it out,
they
right?
Need to protect
basically,
themselves. Exactly.
When it goes down and you lose that amount, they just have to say, okay, well, it can't go down more than that. Is it kind of like that?
Exactly. It's like renting a Ferrari, and they're probably gonna have you put a down payment in case you crash it, right?
Right. Yeah.
So.
Okay. Cool.
But yeah, this thing is still.
So what's it doing now? It's sort of slowed down a little.
It's slowed down, but it's totally normal. I mean, as I was trying to say before, look at this. This is not a normal push. This is and some extremely aggressive buyers, and the market never goes from A to B in a direct line, right? There's always going to be movements within the target and the entry point, and there's a lot of things that have to happen with people. There's going to be people who are selling and taking profits, and then new people who are getting in, and so there's kind of a movement and a transition of the inventory, and that's going to take some time. So there's some balance right now, some things that are happening, but there's nothing that's showing us that we should be worried or want to take profit yet. I think the odds are still in our direction. The momentum is still going with us. Again, it's balancing right at the top, and when it does that, that's saying that the auction has not finished yet. An auction wants to see, an auction, which is what the market is, it's going to go until it goes too far, and it tests something that went too far. When it's balancing right at the top, it's showing that there's still plenty of aggression, and there's no sellers that have stepped in yet.
Yeah, so we're getting real close now to closing this next point, and so it's May 6th today, right? So this is live. You're watching the market live, seeing what's happening. We don't, we didn't follow the news. That's another whole aspect you can get into, but maybe it's a day of a big move, right? So
yeah, and I do have a news feed that I have access to on.
There we go. It's about to jump up to the next point right there.
Wow, this is a great trade, guys.
It's going to get up there, in a couple of minutes.
We could show this.
Yep. So there you go. That's kind of like, do you have any questions or anything that you didn't understand? Cool. Well, yeah, that's like me. There's more that I want to learn and sort of go over it again, but it's a good overview, man, that you gave us.
Yeah, I think the parting words I would give is just that if you want to get into this, keep in mind that it's not it's not easy money. It's not going to be quick money. It's going to be blood, sweat, and tears if you really want to make this work. So don't be swayed by what you see with people selling you courses about their Ferraris and their big houses and, you learn to day trade this way. You're going to have to put in the work, and I would recommend trying to learn as much as you can, find some things that make sense to you, understand how